you know, whatever.
Yeah.
That's just the nature of the beast. Another thing is, depending on how you're doing your color. When you do your color, do you do all your roots and then comb it through the rest of it for 5-10 minutes or something like the box says? If you are, you're gonna stop doing that.
I don't comb it through.
Okay. So it might be
I just kind of do the roots and then I kind of just, you know, mush it a little to make sure I didn't miss anything. But
Right.
the ends are dry.
Okay, you're not putting color on there. Okay, good. Again, this is something that normally can happen, and what you do to correct it somewhat is you use a semi-permanent color on these ends. It's something separate from this, just to freshen it up and make it darker a little bit once in a while. If it's starting to get like that, that's what you have to just keep building more color in. And again, you're gonna start learning about what's going on with the water down here and all that stuff. The other reason is she has so much silver. So those gray hairs are always going to be lighter than everything else anyways, because like if, for instance, in this little chart, it'll show you. Like this swatch is on white hair. This is the same color being used, but it's on something that has 50% white hair, so you still have some of your natural color in there. So it's going to be deeper.
It'll be darker, yeah.
So some of these might be some of those gray hairs in there, you know, that just they don't hold on as well. It happens, you know. That's the tough part about it. I pulled this one out because this is what I'm seeing, what you have, and that's why I'm glad you said that you don't like the brassiness. So you want to be even more drab looking. Drab is the term for cool or ashen, or not that you want to be green, but because you still have a lot. Well, I have to go. I'm going to go through and look. You might even have to have two formulas because you still have a lot more of your natural color back here. See, this is more white up here. Let's see if we can find a good spot that. So you can see that there's differences in her hair. It's really white here, and then as you go back here, it's going to be darker. You're going to so those darker hairs are still her dark blonde or whatever. They're gonna, once you start putting color on them, they're going to lift up and they're going to start to get brassy. That's just how it works. So you need to use a base color that you're putting on that has something that has blue or green or violet in there to counteract that. So we don't want to go with the gold because you're not caring for the gold. So let me see what we got here. So I have to adjust what I would put on there. And I would actually do as flashy as possible probably. And again, too, you being whiter up front, you might need to have two formulas because there's two palettes to go by. You know, one that's really, really, really white, which will always make everything lighter, and then you have the stuff in the deeper, in the dark. Let's see. So, what do I have for? Oh, NA. Now, if these are all in order, sort of. Right. Correct me if I'm wrong, but you would rather see it still has a little bit of orangey tone in it, just because all hair has something in there. Do you like the lighter darkness of this? Or is it feeling too dark, or is it feeling too? Granted, I know it's too light on the ends, so we don't have that. See, that doesn't look bad.
Yeah, I don't
right
want to go too dark because my skin tone is so pale.
Right.
It's just gonna make me look even more pale.
But let me ask you, what color are you using right now? What's the number?
I was
That has a
using
number.
light ash brown
Okay, well that's
or light brown. Sometime, but then you had told me you don't need to use the ash, so I stopped buying that. I just got
well, because I didn't get to see enough of your roots either. Back in here, you probably should use the ash. But a light brown might have golden highlights in it. You might want to do more neutral or natural, and that's what I want to get you to this range.
I think it was a 6 or something I was using.
Okay, and that's darker. So,
Because this one looks nice.
yes, and that's what I was thinking of. A 7 is probably what, I would say starting out with, or something in that range. Again, this is the gold beige, and that's kind of what's going on probably right now. Let me double check it here. I can pull this right up to you. That's showing right here. let's see here. It looks pretty close to what that same color is. Okay, so and that's what you're thinking is still too gold. So we just gotta knock the gold
Well,
down.
it's just that it's so many different colors all over my head.
Well, it's because you have so many different colors underneath everything.
Yeah.
You have lots more white.
Because I'll notice when I do my roots, all of a sudden, like, all here is dark, and all here isn't, and it just looks weird.
Right. Well, I'm gonna try to match it up so it's not like that. First of
Yeah.
all, because that's a big part of it, and this makes it look dull. This lightness of this.
Mhm.
So what I will be doing is toning that down and making it all a little bit more of the same shade all the way up through. Yeah, but yeah, you have lots of different. You may not even realize it so much because you don't see your head the same way we all do. I'm gonna have you look at it that way. Okay. So you're pretty. You've got a lot of white through there. It starts to get a little. Oh, our water down here. Water is an enemy to hair color. It really doesn't matter even where. I mean, the more you wash it, the more the pigmentation starts to come out. What color does is there's peroxide involved. It goes in and opens up the hair shaft. It allows it, depending on your color and what shade, it might be taking some pigmentation out, or it might be just depositing pigmentation in. Oxidization, it creates that molecule that's really small, gets bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger, and then it's trapped in there. That's why some will fall out, because it might not have oxidized big enough and hit a resistant spot. You know, whatever. That's the thing
Right.
about.
And grays tend to be resistant
Yes,
to
and so
color.
this is why sometimes it starts to do these things way out in here, because it didn't fully expand down here. It might have held on for quite a while, but then you get the water you're washing, the detergents we use for shampoos. Another thing that you can do if you can't seem to get it as ashen as you want, or as drab or cool as you want, you can always purchase purple shampoos. That's what they're for, is to knock out some more brassiness in it. Sometimes it's hard to get there because you need to have a degree of gold in the hair. You are coloring gray hair. You have to have all three primary colors in there. Just it depends on the ratio of it. I'm gonna do 7N.
It's white, completely white, so.
Yeah, I'm gonna do 2 formulas. I'm gonna do something more ashy back here because you still have a lot more of your natural color. I'm gonna do something more neutral here in the whiter area. So I'm gonna make up 2 formulas to try to balance everything out.
Customize.
Yes. I'm doing that will be different. If you're buying box stuff, you're usually gonna get 20 volume peroxide. But when you have mostly white hair, all you really need to do is 10. What you're trying to do is put more pigment in, not lift pigment out, put it in. Lower volume of peroxide, the more deposit of color you're gonna get. So I switched a lot of people over to 10 volume. This is gonna be her front color for the white hairs, 7N, which is N, which is a neutral. And then here I had to make this one out of 8NA and 6NA, and these are natural ashes. So that's going to be where she still has some color in the back. And I had to do equal parts of these, and then I made a 7. And same amount of color, and peroxide. Alright, 10 volume. One other thing that I do, so I do things just like these are accelerator drops. They're made out of a lot of good oil, vitamin E, jojoba, olive, and that's great. But I think it's mostly to protect, and it helps to accelerate the color. What I do is I put you under the dryer for about 20 minutes, and it's supposed to speed. It would be more like a 45 minutes sitting there room temperature kind of thing. And then I add these drops, which are God drops. Very cool there, see? See? Gray oxidizing drops. And this helps to add some of those colors that are needed for white hair. And as you see, there's a lot of red to it. But any hair color has to have at least all the primary colors in there in different degrees. Like black hair would have,
Oh yeah, it looks purple.
yeah. And this is why some people that do their own hair color, it looks horrid and just shallow. Like this would be right up here because they didn't get enough gold put in there and stuff. You can see that more like with women trying to be redheads, and they just have like, it looks fuchsia, and that's not what they wanted, but they put that on it because they didn't put enough gold in there with it to make it like a natural color. All right. We section off the hair in 4 partings. Anywhere on the top doesn't necessarily matter, but what I'm going to do is put color on the roots, balloon, and you obviously do your own touch-ups a little bit in between, right?
Yeah.
Okay, because yeah, you don't have a lot of root here, so. And again, you know, you try not to overlap a ton. You can, a little bit is fine with these colors. There used to be a time that you could